So today was a very good day for gold and silver, and a not so good day for US stocks, and a not so good day for many commodities. Also, many auto parts producers. So, if you're not familiar with what happened today, series of events. First, China announced that they're implementing retaliatory tariffs. So this trade war is escalating. President Trump, Larry Kudlow, others in the Trump administration have been lying about progress in the trade negotiations for a long time. Kyle Bass actually tipped this off. If you're not familiar, Kyle Bass has been advising the Trump administration on trade for free for about the last 4 or 5 months, give or take. And he said in recent interviews that they had a 150-page trade negotiation deal basically agreed upon, and then in the last couple minutes when the deals were about to be signed, the Chinese trade negotiators wanted 50 pages removed with all the enforceable documents. So basically, after that happened in the last month and a half, 2 months, that there was no way any progress on the trade negotiations were going to be made. And we're at a point now where China and the US government are basically just going to keep escalating things because neither side wants to cave. So I would expect, my educated guess is that Trump, remember the new tariffs, the 10% tariffs on $300 billion of Chinese goods, which would effectively put a tariff on all Chinese imports into the US. After that, once that 10% tariff on the additional $300 billion of Chinese goods goes into effect, that was delayed until December. I would expect maybe now Trump to move that timeline up to perhaps maybe September or October. I would expect now as another retaliation. Not only have the tariffs spooked the market, and that's why the U.S. stock market, the Dow, is down over 2%, but also Trump tweets. And Trump put basically a troll tweet out saying now the Fed can show their stuff. This was 8 hours ago. Quote, now the Fed can show their stuff. I think what Trump is talking about is obviously he's been lobbying for weeks now for additional rate cuts. So he only got 25 basis point rate cut at the end of July, which the U.S. economy is still technically in an economic expansion, even though there's a lot of data that it's about to enter into an official recession. So that was the first time that a rate cut was done before an official recession. So there's what Jerome Powell has done is Jerome Powell tried to impose, Danielle DiMartino Booth has a tweet out about this, that he tried to impose a media blackout from many people at the Federal Reserve. So Jerome Powell could not get the Federal Reserve bank presidents at the Boston Fed, the Philly Fed, the Dallas Fed, San Francisco Fed, New York Fed, etc., to stop speaking, but he can get all the other employees at risk of their jobs or being censured or suspended or basically being fired, and there's really cushy pension plans if you're a Fed employee, to shut their mouth. And so you have, and I think the reason Powell has done this with doing that, this goes back to my thesis that there is panic, confusion, chaos, and desperation at the Fed, because after that rate cut occurred, the 25 basis point rate cut, and President Trump is clearly lobbying for more, you had, I think it was either the Boston Fed president or the Philly Fed president. I think it was the Boston Fed president, and he was criticizing the Fed for actually cutting the rates. So they do not want this type of dissension among each other in public. Will Trump sack Powell? If I was Powell, I'd want to be out. I would want to be out immediately. So I have I'm going to interview at probably in less than an hour Art Berman, unless something is rescheduled or canceled. This is just a short live stream show update. I'm not going to be on here for a very long time answering questions because I do have an interview. I have to jump on the phone. But the WTI crude price, and this is an important one, the WTI crude price today is down 3.36%, down to $53.49 a barrel. Brent crude is down $2. It is down 2.09%, down $1.25 per barrel to $58.67 when we're doing this live stream show. So WTI crude took it on the chin, and that is because the China tariffs. Let me pull up the article I found here with the China tariffs. Let me make sure I get the right article. I have so many windows open. Hopefully I don't crash the live stream. I think I have a dozen windows open here on my browser. Okay, let me pull up the article if I can find the right one now. Okay, here we go. So China will place additional tariffs of 5% or 10% on U.S. imports starting on September 1st, according to a statement posted by China's finance ministry. The ministry also announced plans to resume tariffs on U.S. imports of automobiles and automobile parts. So guys, this is going to hurt General Motors because they have been in China basically longer than any other U.S. corporation. This is probably going to hurt General Motors significantly. The tariffs, and it will also hurt Tesla Motors. So the tariffs would be 25% for vehicles. That's what I think is going to hurt Tesla. And Tesla was really counting on sales outside of the U.S. to drive this fake growth narrative that Elon Musk is still trying to sell. There's crazy stuff going on with Tesla. Lynette Lopez just released a very interesting article yesterday about a cover-up at Tesla trying to avoid a recall with basically solar panels that are causing fires everywhere they were installed. The tariffs would be 25% for vehicles or 5% on parts and would take effect on December 15th. So Tesla, that's going to put a big hurt on Tesla. Tesla was really counting on sales in China. That's going to hurt Tesla a lot. And they're not going to get any type of exemption, I would assume. Well, I haven't checked the stock price on Tesla, but eventually that's going to affect the stock price, I would think, along with the other news that Lynette Lopez just dropped. The new tariffs will... David Einhorn's already calling for... he sent it to the regulators on Twitter, the story about the Tesla panels, and he's calling for resignation of Elon Musk. Elon's not going to resign. I mean, he's too deep in that fraud. The new tariffs will target 5,078 products, including soybeans, coffee, whiskey, seafood, crude oil, cotton, tea, pork. The big one is pork. So China's actually putting a tariff now, I think a 10% tariff, additional one on pork. And this is actually going to hurt China. The RMB is to the yuan to dollar is at 7.09689. So it has devalued a lot against the dollar, and my best source in China just told me that despite of China trying to subsidize pork prices for the average Chinese citizen, that pork prices just in the last 30 days are up 40% at his local market. So pork prices this is my best mainland China source, just in the last 30 days, pork prices are up 40% at his local market. Pretty crazy. But the average Chinese citizen, though, the average Chinese person is not affected by this increase in pork prices because the Chinese government has been subsidizing the pork price, trying to prevent civil unrest there. But that is obviously not a long-term strategy because it's going to create shortages. There already is shortages in China of pork with the African swine flu, and the U.S. is the world's second largest pork producer. So China is actually hurting themselves now with this additional tariff on pork. And this goes against, guys, this trade war escalating. This goes against the fake, there's the stupid narrative now in the gold community and alternative media that the whole trade war is fake. It is definitely not fake. Okay, this is an escalating trade war, and it's very quickly turning into a new type of Cold War. Okay, there's people in the gold community and alternative media saying that the whole trade war thing is fake. Farmers are doing bad financially. There's going to be commodity producers here in the U.S. that may go bankrupt. Supposedly, I've been getting emails from American farmers that the bailout that the Trump administration, like $26 billion or $28 billion, something like that, being planned is nowhere near enough. There's going to be a lot of bankruptcies from a lot of farmers. Not all farmers are going to get hurt. Some of them are in the right state and have the right connections to the right politicians, and they're going to be okay. They have tax exemptions and other stuff, but a lot of farmers are going to be hurt. Trump, the reason Trump is tweeting, he's trying to get that rate cut. The dollar is, so this is a tale of $2. You won't hear this in the gold community. You will not hear this on the alternative media. You rarely will even hear this mentioned on Real Vision TV or Hedge Eye. But the $2 indexes are diverging again. So the regular dollar index is actually down below 98, which was predictable. The regular dollar index, or DXY, has not held 98. It's attempted to for a long time. So the regular dollar index is pricing in rate cuts, I would say. It's weak and it's pricing in additional rate cuts. However, the trade-weighted dollar index, this is the dollar against emerging market currencies, it has broken out to an all-time high. It is above 130 now. The trade-weighted dollar index is at, let me pull this up. Okay, this morning it was at 130.3095. So you have a divergence in the $2. So all this volatility, the VIX actually didn't even jump that much. I think the VIX is only, it's not even at 20 yet. It's up 19%, which is pretty good. But probably because of the whack-a-mole game, this is not financial advice, but probably because of the whack-a-mole game, the VIX will be knocked back down. And this is why if you have a 20%, 30%, 40% gains in VIX, just my opinion, I would take some money off the table and I would plan for the VIX to get whacked back down, and then I would rebuy. If you're going to trade the VIX at all. I don't think anyone should buy and hold the VIX because of the way that Wall Street manipulates it with the leverage short volatility trade. But this is all good news for gold. Gold is doing very, very well today. Gold is at $1,536.60. Silver is up too. Silver is at $17.40, up 2%, up over 2% today. Gold is up almost 2% at 1.86%. So it's very interesting. Thank you very much for the super chat, Mikhail or Michael. I appreciate it. I'm not sure which currency you gave me in, but I appreciate it. Hey, thanks, John. I'm glad you like the videos. Yeah, Trump. Well, Trump is, Joseph, what Trump is doing is Trump is trying to direct, in case the stock market crashes, in case there's an official recession before the 2020 election, he is trying to place all the blame on the Federal Reserve and the mainstream media. A lot of people, Carney has such a bad track record. Mark Carney does. So yes, he can propose removing the dollar as world reserve currency, but Carney made an enormous mess at Canada. His mess at Canada is just starting to blow up now. He's made a mess of things in England. Everyone says how smart Carney is. It's similar to Larry Summers, where everyone says how much of a genius Larry Summers is, but his track record over the last 30 years of predictions is a disaster. Oh, most of these guys are globalists. Almost all of them are globalists. Okay, remember, I have an interview in a little bit with Art Berman, so I'm not going to be able to be on the stream that long. I was planning on maybe doing another stream with some research on the silver market later today. We'll see. We'll see how tired I am after everything. I also have to get up really early tomorrow morning at the Ron Paul conference. So if you're going to be at the Ron Paul conference, say hi. Ron Paul Institute conference. There's this BS false narrative, though, going around the gold community and the alternative media that the trade war is fake, that the U.S. and China are working together. Hey, Greg, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Yes, you really like Trump. You know, Greg, you remind me of the guy from Billy Madison. You remember O'Doyle? Do you remember O'Doyle rules? All the O'Doyle brothers and how Billy Madison got him back? That's what you remind me of. But I appreciate the super chat. Trump's keeping things interesting, isn't he? There's never a dull moment. Even on a Saturday or Sunday. I think if you tallied up the tweets for how much he's criticized the Federal Reserve, it's on a daily basis now. It's at least 1 or 2 tweets per day. And it's been this way for a couple of months. So it's good that he's bringing attention to the Federal Reserve. It's good that he's raising awareness. I mean, the average American, unfortunately, still doesn't know what the Federal Reserve is, doesn't know who the Fed chairman is, doesn't know what the Federal Reserve does. There is a small percentage that is starting to wake up. Trump would be fine if he was kicked off Twitter. No, I disagree, because I think now he set the stage for the bully pulpit. The new bully pulpit is now Twitter. Hey, thank you, Ed, for the super chat. I'm getting actually a lot of super chats today. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it. New Zealand dollars. I can understand that. You guys, Ed, you guys have some really crazy politicians in New Zealand. Just do whatever you guys just do whatever China wants. And then you're talking about deep negative rates now. It's, man, it sounds crazy. I have some friends who traveled to New Zealand on a vacation talking about how expensive everything was, like the food and the accommodations and the taxes on tourism. And then there's all the rich people in New Zealand, all the rich billionaires who are buying up property in New Zealand, and they're setting up their compounds for when the SHTF. Oh, I can handle the interview. I have notes and stuff. Remember, I was an energy analyst. I've studied the oil market at length. It'll be fun. Although the oil market right now at these prices, the shale producers, we'll hear what Art Berman has to say, but the shale producers, I think a lot of these shale producers are in big trouble. Very big trouble. The stock charts for like Whiting Petroleum, Oasis Petroleum, Diamondback Energy, Concho Resources, there's a few others, they're not looking good. Jerry, I have no idea why your Trump comments are being edited and deleted. I don't even remember seeing them. I don't see everyone's comments in the live chat. If there's a lot of stuff coming in to the live chat, I don't see it all. If it's coming in too quickly, if I'm getting a lot of messages in the live chat per minute, I don't see it all. Yeah, Chile's silver production is coming down. Chile wants to increase copper production. There is a substantial amount of silver production that has come offline. Steve St. Angelo just put out a new article about it, so I was going to talk about that. Apple fritter. Oh, Metallo diluted. Call me not surprised. Thank you, Bruce, for the super chat. I appreciate it. I'm getting a lot of super chats today, guys. Yeah, guys, these smaller companies dilute like crazy. The juniors, the smaller royalty and streaming companies, I wouldn't go any smaller on the royalty and streaming companies than Mavericks Metals. And Mavericks has like 25,000. This is not financial advice. Mavericks has like 25,000 ounces per year of gold equivalent ounce production. At that level, they still, to do a significant size deal, if they're going to do a small deal, they can do it without dilution. If they're going to do a large deal, they're going to have to dilute. You have to be, for the business model to work properly, you have to have enough diversified cash flow, and you have to have a certain level of diversified cash flow, and then you can start to make deals without dilution. You can use a revolving credit facility for a immediate cash flow deal or a near-term cash flow deal, pay it off, etc. And if you're smaller than Sandstorm Gold, it's really difficult to do that. I've studied that business model for many years, and I understand the business model very, very well. And, you know, just because a lot of these smaller companies were going up just with the gold price, and it was very, very predictable because I've been in the industry for a long time that they were going to dilute. A lot of these smaller companies, with the share price up, they don't have cash flow or very little cash flow. It doesn't cover their overhead or barely covers their overhead, doesn't cover their growth, any of their growth plans, and so they're going to dilute. And you're going to see this out of the larger miners too. You're going to see it with the gold price. If we get $1,600 gold price or $1,650 gold price, which is my educated guess for now, by the end of the year, I think we'll probably see gold prices around $1,600, $1,650 by the end of the year. If we do get that, then what we will see is we will see a lot of dilution by a lot of these mid-tier miners and some of the senior miners. You will see $100 million or more dilution. But look, if you look at the balance sheets, if you know how to read financial statements, the miners just don't have good balance sheets, especially the silver miners. There's a lot of silver miners that have problems. I think I just heard that Endeavor Silver now just bought a gold mine. So Endeavor Silver, which is a very well-respected silver miner, they intentionally didn't over-leverage their balance sheet. They focused on smaller silver mines, being efficient, buying old silver mines, repairing them, and having reasonable production and reasonable growth. And Endeavor Silver couldn't even make it work. Endeavor Silver, they had to do CapEx investments, I think, about 4 or 5 months ago, and they were promising free cash flow from their silver until no free cash flow until Q3 of this year, and they just bought a gold mine. So I think that is very, very telling. The other thing is Silver Wheaton had to change their name to Wheaton Precious Metals because a lot of their silver deals that Silver Wheaton did prior to 2014, they had to either restructure all their silver streams or write a lot of them off. So a lot of their silver streams had to be written off or restructured, especially with the smaller silver companies. So the silver industry, I'll talk about this if I do the silver show later. Thanks for the super chat, Lars. I appreciate it. Okay, well, we're at 5 p.m. I want to go take a break, get some water, go relax. Just wanted to give you guys a little update on this, and I'll attach some links to some stories. I'm going to go get ready for the interview with Art Berman. The RMB, though, the RMB is not where I think the Chinese government wants it to be. I think they're also worried about that. So I think with the RMB to the dollar at the exchange rate, there's going to be a lot of Chinese citizens that are not going to want to hold the RMB. I would expect then gold, silver, and also Bitcoin to do well. But Chinese citizens, and again, I'm going to repeat this, Chinese citizens are not buyers and hodlers of Bitcoin. They are using Bitcoin solely as an intermediary to get out of RMB. So the average Chinese citizen who is using Bitcoin is not hodling it. They are using it as an intermediary to get out of the currency. Okay, guys, bye for now. I will have more content hopefully later today.